everybody? Today we're out of Copper testing the Salomon Abstract in collaboration with Snowboard Magazine. We're gonna get some laps around the resort, head into the park, and see how this thing feels out in the mountain. Let's get into it. All right guys, real quick for your reference before I jump into the tech you're gonna find in this snowboard. I'm 5'10", I weigh 155 pounds, and I'm testing this one in size 153. Now this is a freestyle focus board on the Salomon lineup. It's a true twin and it's a unisex board, so it comes in a huge range of sizes. You can get it in a 138 all the way up to a 162. So this board is gonna be available for pretty much anybody looking for a nice, versatile freestyle twin, and it has a ton of tech built into it. First off, you're gonna find a camber dominant profile on this snowboard. You're gonna get Salomon's rock out camber. So that's gonna have two pretty significant camber zones right underfoot with a flat section through the body of the board, creating a nice overall camber bend and feel through the main body of the snowboard to give you more energy and a bit of a more precise feel. Some reverse camber outside your feet going into the tips to make it a little bit more forgiving and give you more leverage for getting some nice tall presses. Other than that, you're also going to get the royal rubber rails. So in the sidewall of this snowboard, there's actually a rubber dampening layer built into the sidewall that runs down pretty much the entire body of the snowboard. That's going to help mellow out those hits in the park and just smooth things out cruising around the resort, help dampen out those vibrations. You're also going to get some carbon built into the tips of this snowboard. You're going to find their ghost carbon beams. So in both the nose and the tail of the snowboard, there's two strips of carbon. It's going to help amplify the pop and energy you're going to find in this snowboard and work with those rocker zones to just help leverage that for more energy. And just a few more quick things I want to touch on before we get these laps going. You are going to get a triaxial fiberglass layup in this board, both above and below the core. So that's 3 directions of fiberglass to help just give you a little bit more out of this one, make it a little bit more responsive and powerful, as well as their freestyle edge bevel. So the metal edge around the board is going to have a little bit of an uplift to it. It's going to be grinded at a slight angle. It's going to be 2 degrees around the tips of the board and 3 degrees between the feet. So this thing should slide nice and catch free sideways on rails out here today. And the last thing is you're going to find a sintered base in this snowboard with their medium stone finish. So that's a higher end base material that's known to be harder, more durable, and faster compared to an extruded base. You do want to, of course, make sure to wax this thing regularly to maintain a nice consistent glide through the season. And it has that medium stone finish, which is a great value add to just keep it going a little bit faster in all snow conditions, helping to displace that water a little bit quicker and more efficiently by adding a little bit of structure to the base material. So that's it for a quick tech breakdown. We're gonna get these laps going out here at Copper. Looks like a beautiful day. We'll check back in, let you know how this thing feels on the resort a little bit later. Into the review talking about the overall flex and feel you're going to get here with the Salomon Abstract. So I would say flex wise, this board sits a little bit on the softer side of medium. I found it had a little bit of a more like playful, pressy kind of feel to it. Really good park feel. But when it comes to like doing butters and ground tricks and getting flex out of the snowboard, this thing is so much fun. This is definitely going to be on our top 5 butter recommendation video this season. And I think a lot of that comes from that slight reverse camber that you find in the tips of the snowboard. It just gives you that much more leverage to be able to just get that flex how you want it. This is the type of board that's gonna make your nose press look like you mean business. This is super fun for all types of butters, sitting in a press, dynamic butter combos, dragging the tips around on the snow, whatever type of maneuvers you enjoy doing, I think you're gonna have a blast with the Abstract here. And one other thing that I think is really cool about this snowboard is for the flex you get out of it, I think it has above average pop. It has some nice energy as well, which is fun just in general around the resort, but particularly with ground tricks as well. Okay, and for freestyle and hitting some park laps on the Abstract, I spent a lot of time feeling this thing out in the park here in Copper. And I would say the overall feel is slightly more jib leaning. I did run through the medium jump line pretty much every lap through there. And I think, you know, up to like 20, 25 feet, it's gonna be pretty comfortable. But if you start going to bigger gaps, I think then you're going to start to feel that this board is maybe a little bit washy, or you might just wish you had a little more stability for really starting to go large. But for me and what I like to do, I think this board just had that super comfortable, natural feel right from the first lap. This was the kind of board I could just cruise into the park and just start getting my tricks. There wasn't really a warm up. It locks into features good. It has enough torsional flex where like doing spins out of rails just feel very comfortable and natural. You get good leverage with this thing. If you're the type that enjoys doing presses on some steel, this is a board that's gonna give you good leverage for that as well. So I would say, you know, kind of sticking in the more like intermediate to high intermediate range, both feature and trick wise, this board is gonna be a great all-arounder. But as you start to step up out of that range, you might wish you had a little more stability. So depending on what your personal preferences are, if you enjoy a little bit of a more jibby feel, I think this is gonna be a really solid park board. All right, and when it comes to carving and exploring the resort, as you may have guessed, the Abstract is gonna be a little bit of a mellower cruiser out there. It's size 153, you're gonna find a 25 centimeter waist width, which is maybe slightly narrow, I think pretty average for this size. I think, you know, with the design of this board, they want it to be comfortable on the approach to features, not necessarily for like digging deep trenches out on the groomers, you know? So it's very quick and nimble edge to edge and does have a very comfortable feel and maneuverable feel on the approach to features. But the trade-off, you know, is that it doesn't have too much width to it. You are gonna find a 7.8 meter side cut at this size as well, which is gonna be a very versatile side cut, comfortable at a wide variety of speeds, and just gonna feel natural underfoot out there. I don't think the side cut is gonna feel off at all. It is gonna have a little bit of a mellower feel to it, and that's not to say that it's gonna hold you back out there. I think it actually does feel pretty good up to a surprisingly high speed. I think this thing held a better edge than I was expecting out there, but you can certainly find the limits of it. At the end of the day, it's, you know, more of like a intermediate park board. It does have that slightly jibby feel to it. There's a little bit of rocker in the bend, so you will be able to get a little bit of flutter in the tips as you go up to those higher speeds. You may feel the snow start to push the board around just a little bit. I didn't feel too squirrely out there, but you know, at the end of the day, I would say it's gonna be most at home at moderate speed and still plenty of fun for exploring the resort, just a little bit mellower. All right, so at the end of the day, if you're on the market for like a true twin park board that has some good versatility, but it's a little bit more jib leaning, the Abstract is gonna be a great choice to look at. Like I said, this thing just feels super comfortable right at home in the terrain park. That was definitely the biggest highlight for me with the Abstract. And I was also really impressed with how much snap I was able to get out of this thing. So if that sounds like something that you would enjoy, make sure to check this board out. It's gonna be linked down below this video, so it's right there for you, as well as a link to the latest issue of Snowboard Magazine. So let me know what you guys think about the Abstract. I appreciate y'all. And if you got some value out of this video, please drop a like before you leave. We'll see you in a new one next time. Later, guys.